Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name's Mariah and this is Mariah's Moods. Hi, it is the start of a very fun vlog, or at least I'm thinking that it's going to be a good time. So, it is June, which means it's my birthday month, so I thought it would be really fun to do a reading challenge, reading vlog based on my zodiac sign. So I'll start off by saying I know little to nothing when it comes to astrology. We're going to sit down and we are going to look at some lists. I found some websites that talk about book recommendations based on your zodiac sign. I also found a couple of Instagram posts that we can look at, and we're going to try and build a TBR. So I'm going to set some rules for myself. So I would like to stick to a number of 3 to 5 books depending on what we find out. And the biggest rule is that if one of the books on the list are on my physical TBR on my bookshelf, they automatically get put on there because I need to get through this physical TBR. Like, it's insane. So 3 to 5 books. If it's on my physical TBR, it's an automatic add to the list of that 3 to 5 books. Let's go ahead and segue over to my computer, and we're going to look at some websites. Hopefully, what I'm hoping is that these sites not only recommend books for Geminis, but explain why a Gemini would like them. Because what I want to figure out is, will I like these books just because I'm a Gemini and what they say Gemini personality traits are? Or are these websites just trying to push these books on readers? Epic Reads. I like Epic Reads. I also follow their Instagram page. I think that they have good book recommendations. I like the content that they put out. So I saw just on my quick little Google search that they did have a fantasy book recommendation. So Epic Reads has the epic fantasy book recommendations based on your zodiac sign. So I'm going to scroll down. Oh, it looks like maybe just like one book per. Hopefully it's a good one. All right, Gemini. My Lady Jane. Well, I'm looking at this and I'm like, no. Okay. Those born under the Gemini sign are known for their humor and wit and having a bit of a dual personality. So we think you should read My Lady Jane by Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. That's a lot of authors for one book. And so another article that I found was from Penguin Random House. They did like a list based off of specific zodiac signs, and it looks like you get like a couple of options, which is great. Okay, so let's see. Let's see what else. Liberation Day. I don't know if I'm feeling like a political read right now. Inheritors of Power. That's interesting. Ooh, The Vanishing Half. I have not yet read The Vanishing Half, but it has been on my like mental TBR for a very long time. Either or. Oh, I like that cover. The Guncle. Dead Romantics. We Were Sisters. Ooh, The Maid. Okay, those are all good choices. So I'm going to put The Vanishing Half, The Guncle, and Dead Romantics, and The Maid. I'm going to put those to the side, and then we'll see what else we find. So the next place I went to was Insider. Insider had an article, but this was new books to read in 2022. So this is actually from last year, but hopefully it'll give me a good list, and you, I guess, click your sign. Okay, so the first one, All My Rage. Gallant by V.E. Schwab. So regardless, this has to go on the TBR because that was one of the rules. If it's on my physical TBR, it automatically goes on the list. So I do have Gallant on my shelf by V.E. Schwab. I picked this up late last year. That's an automatic, so we'll go ahead and put that over there as well. Okay. Automatic book number 2, Don't Cry For Me by Daniel Black. I do have this on my physical TBR, so that means it is book number 2 on our TBR here. Okay, so we have changed locations. It was getting a little loud downstairs. So let's go ahead and continue on. So we looked online. We found a couple of good books from some online resources, but I do want to hop over to Instagram and see what I can find on there. So the first one I wanted to go to with that was That Bookish Lawyer. I saw a while back that she had posted book recs based on your Zodiac sign, and I love her aesthetic. It's so cute. I love her recommendations, so I thought, why not? So the ultimate guide to book recs with your Zodiac sign. Let's go over to Gemini. Okay, so Gemini, you're a social butterfly, adaptable, bold, and very funny. You may enjoy books with the fake dating / engagement trope, or books that just make you laugh. Oh. And it looks like we have an automatic to our list. So I do own The Soulmate Equation by Christina Lauren. So based on her rules, that is an automatic add to the list. Okay, so then the last place that I wanted to look was the Oxford County Library. I saw, just like doing a search through Instagram, that they had a post for Gemini book recommendations, and I think that they did it by like genre, so we shall see. Nonfiction, I'm just not a huge nonfiction fan, and I really not feeling it. And then like when I see it's from Stephen Hawking, like that for me, I'm not gonna have the mental capacity in June to read this, so I'm gonna keep swiping. We have another automatic, but let's just see. So Six of Crows. Some Geminis have different sides to themselves that bring out what they needed. In this book, there are 6 different people who come together to pull off a great heist. Listen, I've been putting off this book for way too long because I'm afraid of the hype. I am afraid to read this book, but this might be exactly what I need to actually get this book done. Mystery thriller, another one. Oh my goodness, guys. So I also have A Good Girl's Guide to Murder on my shelf. Because of the natural curiosity that blooms in Geminis, okay, obviously solving a case is going to be very interesting. Listen, I almost bought this book yesterday, and I'm kind of glad that I didn't. Unhoneymooners sounds really cute. I do want to read it, but not right now. Historical fiction, oh, saved. I've already read Addie LaRue. I really, really enjoyed it. I wish there was more Luke and a little more smut, but I do highly recommend. Okay, so that's it. So it looks like Good Girl's Guide to Murder and Six of Crows. So am I even going to be able to pick? Let's go ahead and see. So looking at our list, we've come up with 10 possibilities for me to choose. This choice has been made pretty easy for myself because I don't own these 5, but I do own these 5. So it looks like automatically, because my rule was if it's on my physical TBR, it is going on this TBR. It looks like we will be reading Don't Cry For Me, Gallant, Soulmate Equation, Six of Crows, and Good Girl's Guide to Murder. That's quite the mix-up. I'm kind of happy about it. So I will check in with you guys once I start reading my first book and show you my thoughts and see, are these books really meant for me, a Gemini? Excuse the redness. I have caught the cold, the plague that has been traveling around my house. So excuse the stuffiness, the redness, and all that is nasty. But I have started Don't Cry For Me by Daniel Black, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm about 114 pages in, so a little more than a third through, not quite a half yet, but I'm really loving this. I'm really enjoying this so far. This is following a father and a son. We have Jacob the father and Isaac the son, and this is a series of letters that Jacob is writing to his son Isaac. Basically, what I'm understanding from this is that Jacob was a very harsh father and accepting father of Isaac, who is a gay man. So the two of them have been estranged for many, many years. Jacob is now currently dying of terminal cancer, so he's writing these letters to his son, and basically to explain the reasonings for the decisions that he made, the experiences that Jacob had as a child that molded what he felt was the role that he needed to play when raising Isaac, and all of the expectations and societal norms that were alive and functioning when Jacob was growing from a child to an adult, that ultimately motivated and really dictated his response to his son. I don't believe that the purpose of this is to excuse Jacob's behaviors and excuse Jacob's ideas and excuse his reasoning. Like, I don't take this as excuses. I think that Jacob's motivation is for him to explain to Isaac why he made the choices that he made. And at many points so far, he has acknowledged that if Isaac doesn't ever want to forgive him, that is okay. Like, that's not like on Isaac, but it's okay because he knows what he did was wrong and it doesn't deserve forgiveness. But he wants his son to know, I feel like he wants his son to know that he does love him. And that if he could go back, and he said that several times in so many ways, that he would do things differently. So I am going to take a break and make start making some dinner. But then I'll probably do a little more reading, and I will check in when I have more thoughts, either with another third of the book, or if I have finished. We shall see which way it goes. Hey friends, welcome back. It is the next day. So I woke up this morning and my throat is even worse than it's been, so yay for me. But I did finish Don't Cry For Me by Daniel Black. So last night I stayed up way too late devouring this book because it was so good, so good. I think I'm gonna go ahead and give this a 4 out of 5 stars. It was fantastic. It was heartbreaking. It was infuriating, but it was just so sad. Like, I don't know how to say it, but like as you're reading, it's just like this overwhelming feeling of just regret. Like, there's so much regret that you can feel Jacob has when it came to his relationship with Isaac, and his relationship with other people and his family, and him recognizing that the societal norms that he was raised under is not necessarily the right way to live or think about or treat the people that you love, was just so heartwarming. So hearing Jacob being remorseful and have regret for how he handled raising Isaac, even though Isaac's situation was different than mine, it was so nice. It was just really refreshing to hear a father express his regrets to his child, and in a way it was kind of like what I would love to hear from my family as far as how I was raised, and still to this day some of the expectations they put on me as a woman and a mother. So it was just kind of like me getting that from this book that I don't feel like I will get in my life. I will go ahead and recommend reading this. Now, in terms of the Gemini, so the whole reason I'm reading this is because it was recommended to me because I'm a Gemini. Some astrology resources said that Geminis like communication, where I struggle with communication, but because this is focused on communicating feelings from a father to a son, I can see why maybe a Gemini would appreciate that, because it is based in communication. Like, this is just a one-way street of someone laying it out. So maybe that's why I enjoyed it, because if I think back on what I was just saying, a lot of the reason why I love this is because feelings were being communicated that I can't communicate and I feel like will not be communicated to me. So maybe that's why I really enjoyed this. Either way, if you're not a Gemini, I think that you could definitely take something away from this. It was so good. It was just so good. So I decided I'm going to pick up Gallant by V.E. Schwab. I think this is like middle grade to like YA. I'm thinking a little more mature middle grade. But I'm very excited to read this. This book is following Olivia Pryor. Olivia Pryor is actually a nonverbal child. I think she's like 14, 13, 14 in this book, but she is living in a children's home. She's considered an orphan. I believe her mother has like passed away, or maybe she doesn't really know what happened to her mother, but the only clue to her life prior to this children's home is this journal that her mother kept that she reads. Then one day a letter shows up to the children's home basically saying, hey, you need to come home to Gallant. But in her mother's journal, her mother consistently writes that Gallant is not safe. So Olivia is kind of apprehensive. Do I go to Gallant, or do I stay here where I'm absolutely miserable? So she obviously chooses to go to Gallant because having some family is better than staying in this orphanage. But when she gets there, she meets her last family relative, but learns that no one actually sent her that letter to come here. It's this old estate with this weird iron gate that she's not allowed to go through. And there's these like weird shadows, and it says basically that no one tells her that her cousin is haunted, what happened to her mother, or what's on the other side of that wall. So this sounds really great. It sounds eerie. It sounds creepy, a little scary. I don't remember why they said that I would like this as a Gemini. I'll have to go back and look before I start reading. So I'm going to finish getting ready, then hop on my meeting, and then start doing some reading. And I'll check in with you guys when I have more thoughts. Hey friends, it is many, many hours later, and I have finished Gallant by V.E. Schwab. I really, really enjoyed this book. I'm going to go ahead and give this a 4 out of 5 stars. I'm pleasantly surprised at how much I enjoyed this book. I loved Olivia as a character. I feel like V.E. Schwab did a wonderful job representing a nonverbal character, and the way that it's written in third person, we're getting a true sense of how Olivia feels, even though she can't verbalize and communicate her feeling in a more traditional way. So I really, really love that representation in this book. I really loved learning about Gallant and the family dynamics, and almost like this curse that was set on this family. And I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil. I would definitely recommend this as like a fall read, like spooky season, because it had like all the spooky vibes, but like in a good way. Again, we're reading this because it was recommended because I'm a Gemini. So I had to go back and I had to look at why this was recommended for a Gemini. So this one was a part of the Insider website. And so it says, in referring to Geminis, as they are curious and extremely adaptable, Gemini readers will love to follow Olivia as she unravels generations of secrets and tries to find a place where she belongs. So I can definitely understand that. As a Gemini, and I actually relate to this characteristic. I do appreciate change. I feel like I am So as a Gemini, I can appreciate those characteristics, and I do relate to that. I feel like I'm very adaptable. I do like change. I like to mix things up. And I am a very curious person, so I can definitely see that coming into play with the story because I wanted to know like what's going on. I was very curious to keep learning more about Olivia and her family and Gallant. And it was nice to see Olivia adapt to her surroundings and find a new place to call home and make it home and protect that home. So for the next book in the Gemini book recommendations, task, challenge,
activity. Don't know what to call it. I picked up The Soulmate Equation by Christina Lauren. I'm currently 250 pages in, and I'm really, really liking this book. I'm very surprised, honestly. I was a little apprehensive going into this. I was a little bit like, before. I completely forgot that I have actually read a Christina Lauren book. I read In the Holidays last year or so, and I didn't realize that that was Christina Lauren. That book was okay, in my opinion. It definitely wasn't my favorite romance that I've read, but this, I'm all for. I am all about this. So this is following Jess. Jess is a single mom. She's young. She's raising her daughter who's like 6 or 7, and she's a statistician. She loves analyzing data, and she consults with companies just to make them more effective by looking at numbers. Her and her best friend frequent this coffee shop, and there's this guy there that always catches her attention, and figure out that he is a geneticist, and he is developing an app that will pair up people based on their DNA matches. It's basically Tinder meets like 23andMe, and so he's developed a compatibility based on DNA sequences. He basically convinces them to come give them a sample. They're getting ready to launch, and more samples, more data. Either way, this company basically ranks compatibility, and they kind of have like these like fun little gold compatible, or a gold couple and a steel couple, and it's based on your percentage of compatibility. Well, Jess decides on a whim one night after a terrible day to basically send in her sample. It turns out that Jess and Americano, who actually is one of the founders of this company, have a 98% compatibility match, which is their diamond match, which is the highest compatibility that this company has ever seen. So basically, they have to make the decision, do they pursue this relationship, even though they kind of started off a little bit rocky, or do they just kind of call it a whim and kind of move on with their lives? This is so good. I really like Jess, our main character. I can relate to her in many ways. I have a really estranged relationship with my mother, just like Jess does with hers. So to see Jess do her best to be a different and better mother than what she had for her child really, really resonates with me. And so I understand her skepticism. I understand her protectiveness. I understand her inability to ask for help or to put herself first, because she feels that if she doesn't put herself first, then she in turn is being like her mother. And although that is not logical, and although everything in her life shows that that's not who she is, it's hard to break that. It's hard to see past that, especially if you grow up with a mother that really wasn't always there for you. So I definitely love that. So I'm really enjoying this. I'm about 250 pages in, but I'm going to keep on keeping on and finish up this last portion, and I'll check in with you guys with my final thoughts.
Hey friends, Editing Mariah here, hopping in here. I have lost the footage of me giving you my final thoughts on The Soulmate Equation by Christina Lauren. I think that between importing vlog clips and family videos and pictures on vacation, I think it might have gotten mixed up and deleted somehow. So I'm hopping in here in all of my beautiful glory to tell you my final thoughts on Christina Lauren's The Soulmate Equation. I ended up giving this a 4 out of 5 stars. I really, really enjoyed this. It wasn't a super mushy romance book, but I think that's more of my vibe. It definitely had parts where I was like, oh, that's so sweet. And the spice was really great. But overall, I just loved the dynamic between River and Jess. I think their relationship was really great. I think that they did well with communication for the most part. I think that River was a really great male character. There was no point when I was reading this where I was like, he's problematic. Like, it just like the misogyny wasn't there, which I really, really appreciated. I really loved that he had some layers to him. He was a dynamic character. And I really love the way that he respected and treats Jess as well as her daughter.
That was fantastic. As I said before, I really, really love Jess, and I can relate to her on many, many levels. So this came from the Bookish Lawyer over at Instagram. And so it says that Geminis are social butterflies, adaptable, bold, and very funny. So they may enjoy books with a fake dating / engagement trope, or books that just make you laugh. And I think that's very accurate when we talk about this book. So a big trope in this is fake dating. Because they have such a high compatibility, basically the company decides, why don't you guys kind of fake date, do some promo, get it out there before we actually drop this company. So lots of fake dating and just like the typical scenarios that happen with that is so enjoyable, but also in some parts were actually funny. So I do think this was a great recommendation for Gemini, but like I've said before, even if you aren't a Gemini, I definitely think that you can enjoy this book, and I highly, highly recommend. Welcome back. It's been probably a week since I've read anything for this vlog. We just got back from camping and I did some other reading. I kind of put this vlog on the back burner. But we are back home and today's a little more settled, so I decided to continue reading Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I am currently 214 pages in. I am almost done, and let me tell you, honestly, like after I picked this up, I'm like, why, Mariah? Why did you take a break on this book? It's so interesting, it's so intriguing. I'm loving the clues. I'm loving like the mixed media as she's like documenting her research. I love just some of the relationships that she's formed through this process. I love digging into these people and just like anybody at this point has a motive, and it's very, very like who's who. It's very interesting. I have a theory on who I think it is. I first was like, that's a little too obvious, but now I'm like, but is that Holly Jackson trying to like throw us off by being, well, that's too obvious. Like it's too obvious if it's that person. But I'm like, I think this person is lying, and I think that they have a lot to lose if what their involvement comes out. So I'm not going to like give you guys any type of information. I don't want to spoil it in any way possible, but I'll let you know when it's over if I was right. And then if you decide to read this book, then you can be like, okay, I know who she was talking about. I'm gonna go ahead, grab the headphones, put the food away, cook some of that food, finish this book, and I will talk to you about my final thoughts. Hey guys, good morning. It is the next day. Welcome back to my kitchen cabinet. We're going to excuse what this is because it's literally morning time. Kids just finished breakfast, finished cleaning up dishes, but I wanted to let you know that I finished A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. It was great. It was really great. I think I want to give it like 4.5 stars. Not quite a 5-star. I wouldn't say it's like top tier, but it was fantastic. For my estimation, I was right and I was wrong. So if you've read this book, or if you decide to read this book, you'll see that kind of the reveal is twofold in this book. And so I was right on the first part, but I did not see the second part coming. It makes perfect sense. It wasn't one of those like out of left field reveals of like, really? This is who we went with? So I really enjoyed that. The reveal was believable. It made sense. The breadcrumbs were there. If I were to go back and reread it, I think maybe now that I know, I could see it. So I think that for me is the makings of a great thriller, where the reveal, the big person who is responsible for this crime, this mystery, is revealed to be someone you weren't expecting, but it makes sense that it could be that person. So as far as me
enjoying this book because I'm a Gemini. I think it might go into the curiosity aspect of a Gemini. I think one of the websites had mentioned that Geminis can be very curious and they like the answers. So maybe that's why I found this very intriguing and I just wanted to know. So I think that for me, that might be the tie. But again, just like any book that I've read for this vlog, I don't think that only Geminis are going to enjoy this. I mean, clearly, you go to Goodreads, it has really great reviews. I mean, it was like all over TikTok a year or two ago. So you can't say that all those people were Geminis, right? So I think that anybody can enjoy this, but maybe I rate it so highly because I'm a Gemini. Who knows? Hey everyone, so I've been reading Six of Crows today, and let me just say this. I was trying to like update you every third of the book. I couldn't because I've just been devouring this book. I am like almost done. I have a less than 100 pages, and this is just, it's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I don't even know, like, honestly, I was like, let me just finish the book. I'll just update them when I'm done. But I was like, no, I need to do an update and then let you guys know like my final thoughts on it and whatever. But this is fantastic. So essentially, we're in this like Grishaverse that Leigh Bardugo has set up. And in this story, we are following 6 individuals that are working together to basically complete this heist. And so what's happening is in this world, we have individuals called Grisha. Grisha are like gifted magical people. There's different types. There's fabricators who I think can like manipulate metals. There are heartrenders who can manipulate things within people's bodies, like make their blood pressure go down or give them healing in a sense. Well, we're following our main like heist leader is Kaz, and Kaz lives in an area called the Barrel, which is like, just think of like the worst, shadiest place like in a city that you could think of, that's just like corrupt and dirty and you can't trust anybody and some shady shit's happening. That's like essentially the Barrel. And so Kaz is a very high gang leader for the Dregs. So he's not like the top guy for the Dregs, but he's basically running the show while like the top leader just kind of like chills, right? And so he is approached by an important individual that offers him like an insane amount of money to basically steal something. And I'm not going to say what it is, and I'm not going to say why they want to steal it. It is very, very important. So Kaz is like one to like never say no to a deal, especially dealing with lots of money. But he realizes that this heist is something that is way above what he could do by himself. So he takes on 5 more individuals to help him, you know, be successful in this heist, and then they will, you know, split the money. But here's the thing, and what I really, really love about this is that they're all people that know Kaz, but they're not necessarily friends with Kaz, and they all kind of have something against one another. Especially 2 of the characters are like essentially enemies, and they have like a really, really rocky history, but they're coming together to not only get a shit ton of money, but what they have to do for this heist and what it would mean for them to actually acquire this object is actually something that's very, very important to like their world. It's like Ocean's 11, but like magical and much more gritty. All right, so I do unfortunately have to take a break. I have some other things I need to get done today. I need to do some filming and I need to do some editing. So what I'll probably do is get myself together, do some filming, then probably go ahead and finish this and then do some editing. So I will check in with you when I'm done with Six of Crows and my final thoughts. Okay, I just finished Six of Crows. Like This was so freaking good. Like, this was fantastic. 5 out of 5 stars. What in the world? Like, seriously, what in the world? This, how have I not read this sooner? Like, what is wrong with me? This was so amazingly fun and fantastic and gritty and dark. Like, it was dark, but like in such a good way. These characters have my whole heart. Like, every single one of these characters, I just want the best for them. Like, it, oh my God. Like, not only was this heist like impossible, the fact that these 6 people were able to come together and work past their differences, work past their own motivations to literally just survive, essentially. Like I don't even want to say anything because I don't want to spoil it, but this was absolutely fantastic. Kaz has, like, I just want to be able to give Kaz a hug. I just want to give him a hug and be like, you know what, dude? You have had the worst childhood and you've gone through the shit. But it is okay. Like, you are okay. You can trust people. You can love people. Like, you are okay. Like, Nina, like, you did that. Like, Nina, you did that. Like, you, oh, bad ass Nina. Like, oh my gosh. I'm mad that I don't have Crooked Kingdom on my shelf immediately to pick up. Because if I did, that's what I'd be doing right now, is just reading. Like, oh, this was so great. Also, I'm not quite sure, but if you pick this up, I'm going to recommend that you do it, regardless if you're a Gemini or not. I think anyone's going to enjoy this book. Read the interview at the back of the book that Leigh Bardugo does. Like, just to like get a little insight into like her motivations and what she thought of the book. And it was just really nice to see that she did get inspired by Ocean's 11. Like, she says that she saw a billboard with George Clooney that she didn't really want to see, but she's like, yeah, I should watch like Ocean's 11 again. And she was like, I'm gonna do it, but make it magical. And bitch did it. Yes, Leigh Bardugo, you did that thing. So this recommendation was coming from the Oxford County Library on Instagram, and it says that some Geminis have different sides of themselves that they bring out when needed. In this book, there's 6 different people who come together to pull off a great heist. The problem is they don't always like each other. This may remind Geminis of how their different sides can clash. Yeah, so I definitely think that there are multiple facets to me. And I'm constantly kind of battling, like, how do I merge those people together? How do I merge those persons? I promise I'm not a psychopath. Like, people have to have like multiple sides of themselves, right? Like, this isn't just a Gemini thing. And I don't always like all the sides of me. Like, I'm constantly trying to better myself. I'm constantly reflecting and thinking, like, how can I be a better person, to be a happier person? And that, I mean, is part of like why I'm starting this channel, to do me and stop worrying about what other people think. But I can see that in here in many of these characters. We've got a lot of characters that are grappling back and forth with what they think is right and maybe what they feel, and what they experience might be different than what they, you know, thought to be true. I think that's pretty on the spot, pretty accurate. So I absolutely loved this. I think out of this reading vlog, this is definitely my favorite. Okay, so we've come to the end of the vlog. So this was just a fun experiment for me to kind of test out some recommendations that I found online. I was picking books based on recommendations for Gemini, and to see if, in fact, these recommendations would be something that I enjoy. And I would have to say that this was successful. I enjoyed every single one of these books that I read for this vlog. They all had aspects that I really, really enjoyed. Some of them I loved more than others. Either way, like, these were fantastic. I feel more validated as a Gemini. Now, will I say that if I wasn't a Gemini, would I enjoy these? I mean, I think so. Like, a lot of these books are very popular, especially these 3. These are very popular books, and you can't tell me that every single person that's read them is a Gemini. would I say that I wouldn't like book recommendations from other zodiac signs? No, I think that there's definitely books out there that are probably more suited to a characteristic of like a Leo or a Sagittarius versus me, but that's not to say that I wouldn't enjoy those books, right? But I did find it kind of fun to see, did I like these book recommendations because I'm a Gemini, or are they just inherently great books? I would say that both is correct. So I think what I want to do is kind of continue on with this, and I think maybe in another video I might test out other zodiac signs to see if I would like those book recommendations for things that are maybe the opposite of a Gemini, or just kind of like any sign, and then compare. Did I like the Gemini recommendations versus like a Scorpio's recommendations? I think that would be fun. If you'd like to see that, let me know in the comments and I can definitely plan something out. But that's it. That's all I have for you. I hope that you enjoyed this experiment. I hope that it's inspired you to maybe look into your zodiac sign and some book recommendations for your zodiac. I would love to hear if you guys kind of test that out and what you kind of come up with, what data you collect. But if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it if you were to subscribe to my channel. If you like bookish lifestyle content, you are in the right place. I hope you're having a wonderful time out there and that your day is full of good moods and good vibes. I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye!